Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Got Harem with Multiple Women's Part 3. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. That's not all. Whoever did that was able to sneak up on the team and speak with Naruto, even though Hinata was using her Byakugan and Shino had his bugs surrounding the area. He knew the kind of reputation Naruto had, as well as the facts that he is Minato's son and is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Tsunade explained. Impossible. Those are some of Konoha's best kept secrets. The only person who knows where documents like that are held is the Hokage. Kakashi said. Was he part of the Akatsuki? According to Naruto he isn't. Going on to quote that, what the Akatsuki is planning to do with the Biju is bound to fail, and later telling Naruto to enjoy the peace with his friends and loved ones because the next time he makes his presence known he promises to make the world burn. So, what you're saying is that this person was able to kill Naruto's clones without being caught, but was also to hold a conversation with Naruto's team who, might I add, have a Hyuga, Aburame, and Inuzuka on it, without being seen, sensed, or smelled. Jiraiya asked, earning a nod from Tsunade. This isn't good. We should send a team of ANBU to investigate the area to see if they can find anything. No doubt Naruto will already be on the move again. You could send another team as backup, but by the time they got there the negotiations would probably already be finished. Jiraiya said. Agreed. I'll send a team of ANBU to search the area where Naruto and his team set up camp. Jiraiya, I want you to ask around your spy network, see if anyone else has had a similar experience as this, or at the least try and figure out who might be capable of something like this. Tsunade ordered, earning a nod from Jiraiya before he shunshined out of the office. Kakashi, I want you to lead the ANBU team in charge of searching the area Naruto encountered this person. Your Sharingan will be useful in picking up chakra signatures and tiny details other people might miss. Hi, Tsunade-sama, Kakashi said before also using a shunshin to leave the tower. Why can't you ever do something simple without turning it into a big pile of paperwork? Be careful Naruto-kun, too many people care about you for you to kick the bucket this early. Tsunade said as she gazed out the window. A threat supposedly bigger than the Akatsuki. We need to be ready for anything. Suna will need to be informed of this as soon as possible as well. Tsunami sighed as she sat in her office looking through a large pile of trade treaties that had been sent in over the past few days. Since Team 7 had helped protect her grandfather as he built the bridge that now connected Wave to the mainland, the country had grown to become one of the largest trading ports of the elemental nations. Thoughts of Team 7 brought a small frown to the young daimyo's face as she remembered the young blonde boy who helped not only change her son, but her country as well. They had received no new information regarding the whereabouts of Naruto Uzumaki, the person her country thought of as a hero. I hope that wherever you are you're doing alright Naruto-kun, Tsunami said, sure the rest of Team 7 had played a large role in defeating Gato and freeing the people of Wave. But Naruto helped change her son Inari, and that had earned the blonde a special place in her heart. Tsunami-sama, the team you requested from Konoha has arrived. Came a voice through her intercom. What? Already? They weren't supposed to arrive for another day at least. Tsunami said to herself before telling her secretary to let the team in. Hello Ninja-san. Sorry if I seem a little disorganized but I wasn't expecting you till later tonight or tomorrow. Tsunami said apologetically. Sorry, I had planned to arrive later today but my team and I had a little incident, so to speak, and I thought it would be best for us to arrive as soon as possible. The hooded figure at the front said, I'm sorry if we have caused you any problems with our early arrival. Not at all Ninja-san. Tsunami replied with a smile. Just caught a little off guard is all. Something about the one with the cloak is familiar. Alright Daimyo-sama, let me introduce the team that will be acting as your security during your negotiations with Kumo. The hooded figure said, receiving a nod from Tsunami, Yugao Azuki, Konoha's resident Kenjutsu specialist, Kurenai Yuahi, the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha, along with her old team, Kiba Inzuka, Shino Aburame, and Hinata Hyuga, all of which are excellent trackers with abilities trained for tracking enemies. A very prestigious team you have here, Ninja-san. I've heard a lot about both Yugao and Kurenai. Tsunami said. While Wave wasn't as militaristic as most of the other nations, as daimyo she made sure to keep track of top-ranking shinobi from around the elemental nations. And who might you be? Most people know me as Konoha's Reaper. Naruto started, before removing his hood, making Tsunami's eyes widen, but I would prefer it if you just called me Naruto. Naruto-kun, Tsunami said, shocked at the change Naruto had undergone. Last time she had seen the blonde, he was just a runt who had one of the shortest attention spans she had ever seen. In front of her stood a man that radiated power and respect, who she had to admit was quite handsome. What's more is that he claimed to be Konoha's Reaper, someone she had been keeping tabs on since she first heard about him. Hello again, Tsunami-chan. I see you have become Wave's daimyo. Congratulations. How have Inari-san and Tazuna-san been doing? Naruto asked, shocking Kurenai at the way he addressed Wave's leader, while Yugao just shook her head. Naruto-san, you shouldn't address the daimyo like that, it's disrespectful. Kurenai scolded the blonde. It's quite alright, Kurenai-san. Naruto-kun did a lot for not only the country of Wave but for my family as well. Tsunami said with a smile, silencing any further scolding by the red-eyed Junin. I really didn't do that much, Tsunami-chan. Kakashi-sensei and the rest of Team 7 played their part, as well as Zabuza-san and Haku-san. Naruto said with a smile, remembering the person he considered his first friend from outside the village. Such humility, Naruto-kun. It would seem that more than just your body has matured over the past few years. Tsunami said, earning a slight nod of acknowledgement from Naruto. I had originally planned to put your team in one of our hotels, but seeing as Naruto is the leader, I would like to offer you a place to stay with me and my family. We have plenty of room for guests, and I'm sure both Inari-kun and my grandfather would be happy to see you again. Inari-kun was devastated when we learned that you had disappeared suddenly, but he kept a smile on his face and continued to help the village, saying that it was something you would have done, Naruto-kun. He did, huh? I'm glad he was able to change from the way he was when I was first here. As for your request, I would be honored to stay at your house, Tsunami-chan. It would be good to see Inari and Tazuna again. Maybe Inari can give me a quick tour later today. Naruto replied, earning a smile from Tsunami before she asked her secretary to call for her son. Tsunami and Naruto continued to talk about the change Wave had undergone while waiting for Inari to arrive, giving his team a chance to talk among themselves. Man, I can't believe how casually Naruto and the daimyo are talking. It's like they have been friends for years. Last time I accidentally talked to a daimyo like that, I was almost thrown in jail. Kiba said as he glanced at Naruto. Naruto is seen as a hero here, Kiba-san. Aside from naming the bridge after him, the daimyo also said that he had helped change her son. It would make sense that he is on good terms with the daimyo. Shino replied. Naruto-san has quite the track record for changing countries, don't you think, Yugao-chan? On his first mission out of Konoha, he managed to free Wave Country from Gato, and according to Kakashi, he played a major role in helping the Princess Koyuki defeat her uncle Dodo in the Land of Snow, allowing her to take her rightful place as the daimyo of the new spring country. Kurenai said, receiving a nod from her friend. He definitely does. Naruto has a special quality that makes people want to believe in him. While he has greatly matured during his time in ANBU, Naruto still fights to be able to protect his friends in his village. His words have the power to make friends from even the worst of enemies. Yugao replied with a small smile. You really care about him, don't you? Kurenai asked, making her friend stiffen slightly. I'm not sure, Kurenai-chan. A part of me tells me that I do, but the other part of me is scared to become too attached. I don't want another repeat of what happened with Hayate-kun to happen with Naruto, Yugao replied sadly, making Kurenai's eyes soften slightly. We are Ninja Yugao-chan. While we may not be able to guarantee our own safety and the safety of our friends, I believe Hayate would have wanted you to move on. Knowing that I could die at a moment's notice, whether it's today, or a year from now, I would rather spend the rest of my time with someone who cares about me the same way I cared about them. Kurenai said, I can see that you truly care for Naruto, and I can see that he truly cares about you. Don't let this opportunity pass you by, Yugao-chan. I'll think about it, alright. Yugao replied as she gazed at her blonde comrade. Do you have anyone special, Kurenai-chan? You speak as if you have experience with my situation. While a lot of men have tried to get my attention, none of them have had the characteristics of someone I would want to be with. Most are perverts just looking to get with me. Kurenai replied. I see. What about Naruto-kun? I know he has a lot of characteristics that you are looking for, Kurenai-chan. Yugao asked, shocking her friend. Well, maybe a little. When I saw the way he had changed, regardless of his age, Naruto has a lot of characteristics that a lot of women would be attracted to. But after seeing how close the two of you are, I would never want to get between the two of you. It was nothing more than a silly thought. Kurenai replied. I see. Do you know about the laws passed down by the second Hokage about clan leaders that are the last of their line? Yugao asked. No, I don't. What would that have to do with Naruto-san though? Kurenai replied. Naruto is the last of the Uzumaki clan and to a lesser extent the Namikaze clan as well. The Uzumaki clan is known across the elemental nations for both their knowledge of Fuinjutsu and the Uzumaki clan Kenjutsu style. The Namikaze clan, while being a small clan that not a lot of people knew about, was also well known for their Fuinjutsu, and were feared as some of the fastest fighters in the elemental nations. Naruto, as the last of both clans, has the right to take more than one wife to help him rebuild his clan under the CRA. Yugao explained, making Kurenai's eyes narrow. Taking more than one wife to meet someone's means for restoring a clan is not something I would be interested in, Yugao-chan. You know my standing on things like that. Kurenai replied, making Yugao nod. I do. Right now Naruto doesn't want to be placed in the CRA, but I think with the reputation of the Uzumaki clan, Naruto might get forced into it. Receiving little love and care growing up, Naruto doesn't want to be put into a loveless marriage just because of who his parents were, and would rather be able to choose who he wants to spend the rest of his life with. I'm not telling you to jump the gun on this, Kurenai-chan. All I'm trying to say is at least get to know him. Yugao said. Why are you telling me this, Yugao-chan? I can see how much you care for him, so why bring something like this up? Kurenai asked, making her friend sigh. I watched how Naruto-kun struggled growing up, always trying to earn the people's respect and attention, and with the burden he has had to deal with since birth, he deserves to have happiness in his life. Like I said earlier, Naruto-kun has a lot of qualities that women find desirable. Regardless of how my relationship with Naruto-kun progresses, I would hate to see him forced into a loveless marriage with some spoiled merchant's daughter. I've noticed the way a few others have been looking at Naruto. Shizune-san seems to be attracted to Naruto now as well, if only physically, but given the chance to get to know Naruto, I'm sure her feelings could grow to something deeper. There is one other that I know for sure has feelings for Naruto-kun, however, they are not mutual, and Naruto plans to confront her before they can escalate any further. Yugao said. Kurenai had a feeling that she knew who the mystery girl was, although she hoped she was wrong for the sake of her students' happiness. I see. I'll think about it, I guess, but I won't make any promises. Kurenai said, making Yugao nod shortly before a knock was heard and the door started to open. You called for me, Ka-chan? The young boy asked. Hello, Inari-kun. The shinobi from Konoha have arrived and I would like for you to show them to our house. Tsunami replied. Alright, but weren't they supposed to be staying one of the hotels? Inari asked. At first I had planned to put them in one of our newer hotels, but a certain development has made me change my mind. Tsunami replied, earning a nod of understanding from her son. Ka-chan, did you ask them about Naruto-Nisan? Inari asked hopefully. I didn't have to, Inari-kun. Naruto-kun is here and is the one leading the team assigned to protect me during our talks with Kumo. Tsunami said, making Inari's eyes widen as he studied the Konoha shinobi in more detail, eventually coming to the form of a smirking blonde. Ni-san, Inari yelled as he ran and hugged Naruto, earning a chuckle from said blonde. Hey there Inari, you sure have grown over the past few years. Your mother has told me a few interesting stories about you. Naruto said with a smile. What happened to you? We heard you just disappeared, we had thought you died, everyone was so upset. Why did you just disappear Ni-san? Inari asked sadly. My old teammate Sasuke decided to betray my village, I failed to get him to return and it almost cost me my life. I had a lot of time to think about how my career as a shinobi had been up until that point and I decided I had to make changes. I joined Konoha's ANBU forces a couple weeks later and trained under some of the best shinobi in Konoha for a couple years before making a name for myself. Naruto said, earning a nod from Inari. I understand Ni-san, from what I read about Konoha's ANBU they try not to bring attention to themselves, maybe you can tell me some stories later. Inari said with a smile. Sure thing Inari, but me and my team are tired, please lead us to your mother's house and we can talk more there alright. Naruto said, earning a nod from Inari before giving his mother a slight bow and leaving her office, followed closely by Naruto's team. Few hours later, after Inari had shown Naruto's team to where they would be staying, Naruto had asked Inari to take them on a quick tour of the village. Naruto had noticed the main part of the village had stayed pretty much the same, but had to go over the newer area surrounding it a few times so he could remember the layout and formulate a plan for his team later. After that Kurenai and her team had retired to Tsunami's house to get a bit of rest while Yugao found a quiet place to practice her kenjutsu, leaving Naruto and Inari alone sitting on the beach. So, what happened after you left here Ni-san? Inari asked, wanting to get as many stories out of Naruto as he could. Well, a few months after my team returned to Konoha we participated in the Chunin exams. Looking back at how I was back then I'm surprised I was able to make it as far as I had. However, there was an invasion at the end of the exams. The traitor Orochimaru had tricked Suna into a joint attack hoping he would be able to get revenge on the village he thought had wronged him. The battle was tough and many shinobi were lost on both sides, including both Suna and Konoha's Kage. I fought and eventually defeated Suna's Jinchuriki after he gave his demon full control by summoning the boss toad Gamabunta and having him get close enough for me to wake him up since he had to fall asleep to give the demon complete control. Since that time we have become close friends. By that time Orochimaru had fled the village after our Sandaime Hokage sacrificed himself in attempts to seal away Orochimaru's soul. Naruto said. Whoa, what happened to the Suna ninja? You said they were tricked right? Inari asked. They were. Orochimaru had killed the Kage and was impersonating him for his own gains. By the time Konoha had learned about this, Suna had already retreated back to their village. After negotiations Suna and Konoha became allies, with Konoha's new Hokage asking for Suna's help during my mission to retrieve Sasuke, and they arrived just in time to save my friends. Naruto explained. Naruto went on to explain the reason as to why Sasuke left, and telling Inari of his fight with his old friend, leaving out the part of using Kyuubi's chakra as he thought that was something Inari didn't need to know. They talked for a few more hours as Naruto told Inari about his time in ANBU, meeting Yugao, and some of the missions they had gone on together. You and this Yugao girl seem really close Ni-san, I'd really like to meet her. Inari said. Well you can, she is here with my team as part of your mother's security, the one with the purple hair. Naruto said, receiving a nod from Inari. Are you two dating? You sound like you care about her a lot. Inari asked. I do care a lot about her, but we aren't dating or anything like that, just friends for right now. Naruto said replied. Do you want to date her? Inari asked, making Naruto stop to think. Did he want to date her? He had to admit she was very attractive and strong, two qualities that Naruto would look for in someone he wanted to be with, but she was also caring and nice. They had been through a lot together over his few years in ANBU, and Inari was right, they had grown very close. Truthfully, Yugao-chan and I have been through a lot together over the past few years, and like you said, we have grown very close. However, Yugao-chan lost her fiancé before the invasion during the Chunin exams, and I'm not sure if she has moved on fully yet, or even if she feels the same way about me as I do her. You have to understand, Inari, that with the life we live it's hard to find love, and even if you find it, there is no guarantee on how long it will last. There are also certain things about me that will make it difficult for me in the future. I have a lot of powerful enemies right now, and I'd hate to put someone like Yugao-chan in harm's way just for my personal gains, Naruto said, receiving a nod from Inari. I'm sure it will work out, Ni-san, but we should get back home now. It's almost dinner time, and I'm sure there are things that my mother wishes to discuss with you, Inari said before standing up and walking back towards the village. You think so, huh? Well, I hope you're right, Naruto said to himself as he too stood up and walked back to the village. Next day, late afternoon. Inari had been right. After dinner, Tsunami had taken Naruto and his team aside to discuss what the plan for the meeting was. Naruto and Yugao would accompany Tsunami to the meeting, while Kurenai and her team would set up a perimeter. In the off chance that the Kumo shinobi recognized Naruto as Minato's son, they hoped that Tsunade's plan of having Wave's hero present would be enough to make Kumo not want to start anything. Adding one of the best Kenjutsu users in the elemental nations as extra backup was just extra precautionary measures. Naruto and Yugao were currently wandering around the city, hoping to spot the team from Kumo that they heard had arrived earlier, but so far they had had no luck locating them. You're sure they are here, Naruto-kun? Maybe Tsunami-san had wrong information, Yugao asked. I don't think so, the meeting is tomorrow, they have to be here somewhere, Naruto said, before feeling a somewhat similar presence. Come with me, Yugao-chan, I think I know where they are. How? Yugao asked as Naruto led her through the streets, stopping a little bit away from one of Wave's newer hotels, and then noticed some Kumo shinobi standing outside it. I knew it, Naruto mumbled, earning Yugao's attention. Knew what, Naruto-kun? She asked. That blonde kunoichi, the one with long blonde hair, can you see her? Naruto asked, earning a nod from Yugao after a few moments of searching for her. What about her? She asked. She is Yugito ni Junin of Kumo, and is also the Jinchuriki of the Two Tails, Naruto said, making Yugao's eyes widen. I knew where they were because I could feel a demonic presence similar to the Kyubis. This changes things a little. I want you to find Kurenai and her team and tell her about this. I'm going to stick around and watch her a little more. Alright. Just be safe, alright, Naruto-kun, Yugao said before heading to find Kurenai. Couple hours later, Naruto had been watching Yugito for the past few hours, not noticing anything to be off about the Jinchuriki. It was her teammates that bothered him. The looks they sent her when she wasn't looking, and the way they acted towards her made his eyes narrow in anger, reminding him of the looks he used to receive as a child. I shouldn't be surprised. Kumo is a village that prides itself on its militaristic strength. It would make sense that Jinchuriki would be seen as nothing more than tools, he said to himself, and then watched as Yugito left, heading towards one of the docks. Summoning a toad, Naruto gave it a message to deliver to Yugao and Kurenai, telling them he was going to follow Yugito for a while longer before returning to Tsunami's for the night. Having sent the message, Naruto left the cover of the alleyway and continued to follow Yugito through town. Coming to one of the docks farthest from the market area, Naruto watched as Yugito appeared to be meditating. You know, you don't have to hide from me. I could sense your presence since leaving the hotel, she said as she looked towards the spot Naruto was hiding. Impressive. Not many people have the ability to sense me while I'm trying to stay hidden, but I guess you have something inside that helps you with that, huh? Naruto said as he appeared at the end of the dock, shocking Yugito. What are you talking about? Yugito stammered. I sensed you with my own skill, nothing more. Cut the act, I know who you are. Yugito ni, Junin of Kumo, Jinchuriki of the two-tailed Hellcat. Naruto said, shocking Yugito. How do you know that? Does Konoha have spies in Kumo? Yugito asked as she got into a fighting stance. Easy, Yugito-san, I do not want to fight. Naruto said, making Yugito relax slightly. As for your question, no, Konoha doesn't have spies located in Kumo, and the reason for how I know doesn't matter. If you ask your tenant, I'm sure she will be able to tell you. While Naruto didn't rely on the Kyuubi's chakra, during his years in ANBU he had learned of the other Biju from the fox sealed inside him. While he knew the Biju didn't have actual genders, they act and sound a certain way, and some took the way they were addressed more seriously than others. How would he know about Unibi? If Konoha doesn't have spies in Kumo, there would be no possible way he would know about that, as the bingo book doesn't have me listed as a Jinchuriki. The reason he knows is because, like you, he is also a Jinchuriki, though I cannot sense what one of us he holds. He must suppress his Biju's chakra, I can only sense a small amount coming off of him. Be careful Yugito-chan, even if he doesn't use his Biju's chakra, I can sense a powerful aura coming from him. I see your tenant has told you of what I am. As I said, I do not wish to fight you Yugito-san, I just wanted to talk. Naruto said, earning a nod from Yugito. She told me what you are, but couldn't tell me what Biju you hold. You know a lot about me, but I know nothing about you Shinobi-san. Yugito replied. Indeed you don't. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, elite Junin of Konoha, Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed demon fox. Naruto said, mind if I sit with you? Sure, as long as you don't try anything. Yugito replied, earning a nod from Naruto as he took a seat next to her. Like I said Yugito-san, I didn't come here to fight. How long did you know I was following you? Naruto asked. Nibi alerted me to your presence when I was at the hotel. I did not, however, expect you to follow me out here. Yugito replied as she gazed across the ocean. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. I see, as a team leader I was curious as to who Kumo would send. With the threat of the Akatsuki looming overhead, I didn't expect them to send one of their Jinchuriki on such a low-ranking mission. Naruto replied, making Yugito look at him questioningly. Akatsuki? Who or what is that? She asked. I see, she doesn't even know that there is an organization of S-ranked criminals after her. I'm surprised you don't know who they are. The Akatsuki is a group of S-ranked ninja from around the elemental nations that is currently hunting people like you and me. Naruto replied. Right now we only know of two of their members, one being Itachi Uchiha, S-ranked criminal of Konoha, Uchiha prodigy that had entered ANBU by the age of 10, and was an ANBU captain by age 13, and is said to have been one of the strongest Uchiha since Madara. Not sure if that's actually in canon or not, but roll with it anyways. Itachi's a badass. His partner is Kisame Hoshigaki, nicknamed the tailless-tailed beast because of his supposed superhuman chakra levels, and is said to have been one of the strongest shinobi to ever come out of Kiri. Naruto said, shocking Yugito. If the rest of the members were anything like Itachi and Kisame, the Akatsuki would be a serious threat to any of the Jinchuriki. Why are you telling me this? Would it not be easier for Konoha if other villages' Jinchuriki are captured? Yugito asked. I believe you're missing the larger picture here, Yugito-san. An organization of S-ranked criminals with members like Itachi and Kisame wanting to gather the tailed beasts would be anything but good. We have yet to learn of their true intentions, but whatever it is I can guarantee it would be anything but peaceful. And besides, as Jinchuriki need to stick together, I saw the looks your teammates were giving you at the hotel. I received them a lot when I was younger. In fact, I received them up until I disappeared 3 years ago. Naruto said. My life in Kumo isn't all that bad. The Raikage's younger brother is also a Jinchuriki and has looked out for me since my mother died, so I'm pretty close with the Raikage and most of the village accepts me. Some, like the two you saw earlier, can't see past my inner demon even though I have full control of her. Yugito said sadly, earning a nod from Naruto. But even if most of the village accepts me, I still don't have a lot of friends back home. I see, you've had it a little easier than I have at least. Naruto said, earning Yugito's attention again. Growing up I never knew my parents, I lived in the orphanage until I was kicked out at the age of 6. The Sandaime Hokage was the only person who treated me nicely until my last year at the academy, where I earned friends and also a brotherly relationship with my sensei. I didn't even know I was a Jinchuriki until I was tricked by one of the teachers to steal the forbidden scroll after my third time failing the academy. He told me if I could get the scroll I would pass and be able to become a genin. Turns out he was working for the traitor Orochimaru, and he tried to kill me. He told me about how our Yondaime Hokage couldn't kill the 9 tails, and instead had to seal it away. Something tells me that there is more where this came from. How could you live through all that and still be sane, not wanting to kill everyone? Yugito asked. I will admit I thought a lot about getting revenge when I was little, but I eventually found friends and people I could consider a family. I had finally gotten a little of the recognition I had always wanted growing up, and that's what stopped me from growing up to become a killer. Naruto said with a smile. I see. Nibi also tells me that you probably don't use or rely on your Biju's chakra. With that said thought she also says I should be wary of you because of the powerful aura she can sense coming off you. She says you're most likely the Domina. Yugito started, then stopped blushing crimson as her inner demon continued her train of thought. Hey, a perverted demon cat, never thought I'd see something like that. Naruto said with a smirk, earning a glare from Yugito. But if you must know, I don't use the Kyuubi's chakra. I used to have to rely on it a lot when I was younger, but after certain events I decided it was time for a change. I joined Konoha's ANBU when I was 13 and only recently returned to Konoha's regular shinobi forces. This is actually my first mission as an elite Junin. Naruto said. As for being dominating, couldn't tell ya, but something tells me that would be a role you would play. Don't encourage Nibi Naruto-san, Yugito said with a blush, earning a laugh from Naruto. Sorry Yugito-san, I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry but I should probably get back to my team. Remember what I said about the Akatsuki Yugito-san, pass on the message to both the Raikage and his younger brother, I would recommend not going on any missions alone until something is done about them. Naruto said, before digging into his pocket and pulling out a sealing tag Yugito didn't recognize and handed it over to her. What is this for Naruto-san? Yugito asked. It's a reverse sealing tag specifically designed by me for my friends. If you are in danger, pump chakra into the tag and I will be able to teleport to you. You can only use it one time though before it runs out. Naruto explained, making Yugito's eyes widen. Why are you giving this to me? She asked. As someone who is not only a Jinchuriki, but has also shared a similar past with me, we should stick together. Look out for the Akatsuki, anyone wearing a black cloak with red clouds, they are very powerful. I'm not downplaying your skills as I'm sure that you're a very capable kunoichi, but the Akatsuki is a very dangerous organization that will take more than just a few people to be able to stand up to them. Naruto explained, earning a thankful smile from Yugito. Thank you, Naruto-kun, I promise I'll use this if I need help. Yugito said as she stood up and prepared to leave. Alright Yugito-chan, Kumo and Konoha might not be on the best of terms right now, but you can count on the Reaper's help if you need it, however those who cross the Reaper don't live for very long. Naruto said with smirk before using Shunshin to go back to Tsunami's house, leaving a shocked Yugito behind. Konoha's Reaper, Yugito said to herself. I told you he was powerful Yugito-chan, even with me I'm not sure you would be able to best him in a fight. Nibi said, leaving Yugito with a lot to think about on her way back to the hotel. With Naruto arriving back at Tsunami's house, Naruto made his way to find both Yugao and Kurenai with hopes of talking to them about the Nibi Jinchuriki. Ah, Tsunami-chan, do you know where Yugao-chan and Kurenai-san are? Naruto asked as he saw Tsunami relaxing in the living room. I think they are out back, Naruto-kun. They went outside a little while ago. Tsunami replied, earning a nod from the blonde. Walking outside, Naruto found Yugao going through Kenjutsu katas while Kurenai watched. Ah, Yugao-chan, Kurenai-san, I need to talk with you about something. Naruto said, earning both their attention. Naruto-kun, you're back. I was a little worried something might have happened. You were gone for a long time. Yugao said, stopping her training and walking over to Naruto, followed by Kurenai. I'm fine, Yugao-chan, don't worry. I followed her out to one of the docks. She knew I was following her and called me out on the docks. The first few minutes were a little tense as she had thought I wanted to fight her, but I managed to calm her down. After that we talked for a while. I let her know about Kumo and we shared stories of our past. She is not well liked by some of the shinobi in her village, so we had a little in common. I was a little surprised she knew nothing about the Akatsuki, but I left her with a warning as well as one of my reverse summoning tags in the event she needs my help. I could tell she was strong, but the Akatsuki are not to be taken lightly. Naruto said, earning a nod from Yugao. Do you think she is a threat tomorrow, Naruto-san? Kurenai asked, making Naruto shake his head. No, I don't think she will be. Nibi let her know I was a Jinchuriki, but she also told me the Nibi said to be wary of me. It also turns out the two-tailed hell cat is a bit of a pervert. Naruto said with a laugh. Really? That's all you got out of her, Naruto-kun? Was that her tailed beast was a pervert? Yugao asked with a sweat drop. Well, for the most, it's not every day a two-tailed demon tells you that you look like the dominating type, Naruto said with a sheepish grin, earning a slight blush from Yugao and a tick mark on Kurenai's forehead. Please get to the point, Naruto-san. Kurenai said, earning a nod from the blonde. No fun, Kurenai-san. Naruto started, earning a glare from the red-eyed Junin before quickly continuing. From what I gathered, she had a past slightly similar to my own. She is close to the Raikage and the Raikage's little brother, who is Kumo's other Jinchuriki. Both are said to be the perfect hosts because they both have complete control over their Biju. Yugito is a Junin level kunoichi even without the Nibi's chakra, and from reports in the bingo book she is a skilled close-range fighter. However, I feel like we were able to connect in ways that normal people can't, which is why I gave her my special summoning tag. She is not a threat to any of us, however, I cannot guarantee that the other Kumo shinobi will be the same. So I would be prepared for anything. Alright, Naruto-san, I'll let my team know to keep an eye out then. Kurenai said, receiving a nod in response. We should probably get some rest though, tomorrow will probably be long. And we need to be on alert, especially if the Kumo ambassador was to recognize me. Naruto said, receiving nods in agreement. They bid each other goodnight and left to their respective rooms, each having a lot to think about regarding conversations they had had today. Next day, Daimyo's office. Naruto and Yugao stood on either side of Tsunami as the ambassador from Kumo went over the agreement and restrictions laid down by Wave's daimyo. Across from them stood Yugito and one other shinobi Naruto didn't recognize. Outside, Kurenai and he team had set up a perimeter outside while keeping an eye on the other Kumo shinobi. In the off chance of something happening, Naruto felt secure with them keeping watch from the outside. Everything appears to be in order, Daimyo-sama. Raikage-sama will be pleased that you accepted our terms for this agreement. The ambassador from Kumo said with a smile as he took the papers and sealed them away, then stood up and put out his hand. Wave is grateful for your business, Ambassador-san. We look forward to working with you more in the future. Tsunami said with a smile of her own, as she stood up and shook the Kumo ambassador's hand before bidding him farewell. Naruto and Yugito shared one more look at Yugito left, receiving a smile from the Kumo Junin. That went better than we had hoped, at least. Yugao sighed out after the door was shut. It doesn't seem like he recognized you either, which is a bonus. You're wrong, Yugao-chan. He recognized me the moment he saw me, he just chose not to say anything. They will most likely rush back to inform the Raikage about me. Naruto said, before turning to Tsunami. I'm sorry Tsunami-chan, but my team and I need to leave as soon as possible. A lot has happened on this mission and it would be best for us to leave as soon as possible. I understand Naruto-kun. I hope I will be able to see you again. Inari is going to be upset that you left without saying goodbye. Tsunade said with a small smile. Tell him I'm sorry Tsunami-chan, and that I'll come to visit again sometime. Naruto said with a slight bow, before leaving with Yugao to get Kurenai and her team. A lot has changed Naruto-kun. You've grown strong over the past 3 years. I'm sure regardless of whatever hardships you and your friends face in the future, you will be able to get through them. Tsunami said to herself, before sitting back down and doing paperwork. With Naruto. Yugao-chan, can you get Kurenai and her team and wait for me on the other side of the bridge? There is something I would like to do. Naruto said. Receiving a nod in response, Naruto shunshined out of the area. Arriving at his intended area, Naruto proceeded to walk up a path leading to 2 graves. Haku-san, thank you for showing me what it truly meant to be strong. I've earned a lot of friends since I met you, fought a lot of tough enemies, and have made a name for myself on the Nindo that you had, which now lives on through me. Thank you, friend, Naruto said, before saying a prayer for Zabuza as well and leaving to meet up with his team. Another mission to wave that Naruto wouldn't forget anytime soon. New enemies, along with new friends, and a lot to think about regarding his purple-haired friend. Little did he know that Yugao was having similar thoughts about him. Eventful mission indeed. Konoha. Day after Naruto's return. Upon arriving home the previous day, Naruto had asked Tsunade what she had done about the letter he had sent her. Getting the reply that she had sent an ANBU team led by Kakashi to search the area, but wouldn't be expecting a reply till the next day, Naruto had given her his mission report before agreeing to meet her back at the tower the following day. Naruto was now on his way to the Hokage Tower, Yugao following slightly behind him. Do you think Kakashi-senpai is back yet, Naruto-kun? Yugao asked, getting a sigh out of her blonde friend. I don't know Yugao-chan, I hope so. With Kakashi's Sharingan he should at least be able to pick something up. Naruto replied, although a little unsure of his own statement. Whoever it was the night before had been able to slip by him unnoticed, something that had not happened to him in a long time. Whoever it was, they were very good at hiding their presence, even from me. I know, that's what bothers me, Naruto-kun. What if he comes back before we are ready for him? Yugao asked. A sense of hopelessness laced her voice that Naruto hadn't heard in a very long time, making his eyes soften slightly. Honestly, I'm not sure, Yugao-chan. Naruto started, but from what I gathered from our brief encounter he still had a long time to go until he had reached his full power. Same goes for both of us as well. There are still so many jutsus that I have yet to learn and master. We have time to train, become stronger. We both have access to my family's jutsu library, and I know for a fact that you want to learn the Uzumaki Kenjutsu style. Thank you, Naruto-kun. You're right, we both have time to grow, along with everyone else. You don't have to shoulder this burden on your own. I'll always be there to help you, and I'm sure there are others who feel the same way. Yugao said with a smile, earning a nod in return from Naruto. Thank you, Yugao-chan. I know that I have people I can count on in the Leaf, as well as other areas around the elemental nations, but we will all need to be at our best to deal with not only the Akatsuki, but this new threat as well. Naruto replied, but we should hurry to see Ba-chan. She said that Kakashi should be arriving around this time and I would like to be there for his report. Yugao replied with a nod as both she and Naruto quickened their pace towards the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. Tsunade sighed as she gazed at the scarecrow Junin that had just entered her office. She could tell from how he held himself that they hadn't found much, if anything, as to who Naruto might have encountered the night before. Pressing the button on her intercom, she called for Shizune to send someone to find Naruto. No need for that, Ba-chan, I'm already here. Naruto said as he entered the window, making a tick mark appear on Tsunade's forehead. Sorry, Tsunade-sama, I tried to stop him but he isn't a very good listener. Yugao said as she too appeared in the window. Tell me something I don't already know. Tsunade scoffed, earning a smirk from Naruto as he took a seat beside Kakashi, Yugao sitting next to him. So, did you manage to find anything, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked. Not much, Naruto. There were traces of chakra around the area, then a single trail leading away from the clearing. But we didn't get very far before it disappeared completely. If I had to guess, it was a long-range jutsu, very long range. Which would mean it would take a great deal of both chakra and control to be able to hold it for as long as you say they did. Kakashi stated, earning a nod from Naruto. In a way, it resembles when Zabuza used the hidden mist technique on us during our first mission to wave and made his voice reverberate through the fog, making it seem like he was everywhere at once. Naruto summarized, earning a nod from Kakashi. The Cyclops is right, brat. I could sense the chakra was being sent from far away, but inside this seal I couldn't tell just how far. The chakra felt old, almost, very old, full of memory and anger. A voice inside Naruto's mind spoke, making the blonde's eyes widen slightly, attracting the attention of the others. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? Yugao asked, slight worry in her voice. Yay, I'm fine, Yugao-chan. The Kyuubi just had something to say on the matter. Naruto replied, making the others have the same reaction he just did. What did it say? Kakashi asked, making Naruto sigh as he heard a slight growling in the back of his mind. He said that you were right about it being a long-range jutsu, but inside the seal he wasn't able to tell just how far the chakra came from. He also said that the chakra felt old, full of memories and anger. Naruto said, how old exactly? Could he tell? Tsunade asked, if they could get an age they might be able to narrow the search down. No, I couldn't tell exactly, but it felt older than Madara, which means it goes back to before Konoha became a village. Kyuubi said, making Naruto frown. The fox said it felt older than Madara's chakra, which means it is also older than Konoha. This means that we most likely won't be able to trace it back to anyone, as there are no records from before that time. Naruto said, earning a nod from the rest present. Kyuubi, I would like to ask you to keep looking into this. You are the only one who would have information from a time before the great villages were formed. Our lives are connected. If I were to die, so would you, and while we may not see eye to eye on most things, I don't want you to die just because I wasn't strong enough, even though you would eventually reappear. Naruto said in his mind, slightly shocking the large fox, though he hid it very well. Alright, brat, I'll look into it, but I can't promise anything, so don't get your hopes up too high. Just remember, I'm only doing this because I don't want to die. Reforming takes time, and honestly it really is. Kyuubi replied, making Naruto nod with a slight smile. I asked the fox to look into it. Being around pretty much since the birth of Shinobi, he has seen a lot, and is probably our best bet to actually find something out about whoever we encountered the other night. Naruto said, I may not like it, but you have a point. The Kyuubi is one of the only beings old enough to know what happened before the formation of the 5 great villages. While the Sonya clan kept detailed record of events that happened before Konoha was formed, most of the documents have been lost over the years, or are worn beyond recognition. Tsunade said, it would seem that at this moment, there is little left to be said about what happened during the mission. But I would like to make a request, Ba-chan. Naruto said, getting Tsunade's attention. Naruto hardly requested anything from her anymore, unless it was very important. I'm listening. I would like you to call together teams 8, 9, and 10, along with their senseis. I would also like you to call Sakura, Shizune, Ayame, Tuki, and Aruka to come as well. I think it's time that they learn the truth of who and what I really am. Naruto said, making Tsunade's eyes widen slightly. Are you sure, brat? I mean, you just came back and everything. They are still trying to get used to the new, well, you, I guess. Tsunade said, but earned a nod from Naruto. Groaning at the thought of how much paperwork this would create for her, Tsunade told Shizune to send for the people Naruto had asked for. 15 minutes later, Naruto stood in front of his friends, their senseis, and the 3 people he could call family. I've asked Ba-chan to call you all here today to discuss a